All right, guys, we're on the main event for TLC. WWE Champion Randy Orton faces off against the World Heavyweight Champion John Cena in a tables, ladders, and chairs match to determine the Unified Champion, who will never be referred to as the Unified Champion because WWE said, fuck that vote, and just starts calling him the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. They also decided that they're just going to go with carrying both the belts for now, but we all know what's going to end up happening. Randy Orton's not walking into WrestleMania with both titles. He's walking in with the WWE title, and that's it. And that's the way that they should be going with this. I think that World Heavyweight title, if you're going to retire it, you need to retire it. So, match itself, I wasn't that big of a fan of, I guess, the majority of it. I don't know if I should say, most of it, but there weren't many things in this match that were really exciting for me. By the end, it picked up and it became a pretty fun match, but it had a really slow start, and that usually, for a main event, puts me in a sour mood. The one thing that I thought that was really interesting was that whole the handcuff situation. When they first started doing that, I was just like, we've seen the handcuff thing before, but they made it a little bit different. Incorporating the ring ropes was really cool. I really liked how they made that not the actual end of the match. They, worked it into it, but that was actually the highlight of this match, I think. And there were some other spots that were pretty decent here and there. Cena tackling Orton through the table was kind of cool. We've seen it before, but, it's still kind of cool to see. I liked the idea of Cena dangling with the title and Orton just nailing him in the back with a chair. That was kind of cool. But there's not too much I can talk about that I was a big fan of, and it wasn't because it was just horrible or anything. It's just I expected more, and the slow start that kind of put a damper on it for me. But Randy Orton comes out on top here. Cena face plants the table. I don't think that came out the way that they were expecting it to, but that's kind of my position on this whole match. So, Peyton, what do you think?
Well, it was okay.
That's it?
Yep. No. This they spend a lot of time really trying to make you feel like this is going to be one of the most important matches of all time. Now that the dust has settled from it, I don't know if I feel that way. I don't know if this was one of the greatest matches of all time. As far as a solitary main event on a pay-per-view, I thought it was very good. I think it was one of the better matches that Cena and Orton have ever had. I thought it was a very fun TLC-styled matchup. I think we saw good involvement from every type of weapon throughout the match, as well as some other weapons you don't normally see in a TLC match. Like you were saying, the handcuffs. And even when I saw it, I wasn't thinking, oh, we've seen this before. It's like, oh, I was actually like ingrained in the drama. It was like, oh, no, Cena's getting handcuffed. What's he going to do? Is he going to pull himself free? What's he going to do? And I never saw him unhinging the corner as what he was going to do. And as soon as he had it, I was like, oh, please, take the turnbuckle and punch Randy Orton with it. Please, please. And sure enough, that's what he did. He climbed up there and he held it right in his hand and he knocked Randy Orton right in the face with it. Another great fun moment, of course, was when John Cena was hanging off of the top hook when Randy Orton pulled the ladder out from underneath him. And when I had buddies over for it, we all had a good raucous laugh at it. It was a funny moment to see in the match. And a good example of how John Cena and Randy Orton are such professionals that they can have funny moments, they can have gripping moments, they can have all these different emotions packed in throughout this matchup, and it's just a testament to how good this was, I would say, the fact that you could have these different emotions throughout it all. So I know a lot of people are being down on this, and I really just don't see it. And even on the pay-per-view overall, this pay-per-view was built as a one-match show. And that one match alone, I think, delivered in spades. And then we had all this other stuff on top of it, which was ranged from to pretty good. So overall, I think this was a fantastic pay-per-view, and this was a fantastic main event that capped it off.
Graham?
I thought it was a pretty good matchup as well. I mean, given the fact that, most people will say that a lot of the feuds involving Randy Orton and John Cena over the years have been very repetitive, very boring. Well, that may be true. Their matches are very strong. Go back and watch their Hell in a Cell, Iron Man, I Quit matches. This was no exception. They made very good use of the TLC environment with the AA through the table. Like you guys were just saying before, when Cena was dangling and Orton was hitting him like a piñata and like candy was supposed to come out of him. I thought that was pretty funny. The handcuff thing, you guys were saying that it was kind of interesting and innovative. I didn't really think so. Given the fact that CM Punk did it only 2 years ago in the main event of TLC, that same exact thing happening, and then he ended up winning. But even so I thought that was kind of useless. But the finish was botched with Cena supposed to be going through the table, so that might have helped the matchup just a little bit. But they did make up for it by saying that he hit his head on the table, so that was a nice cover-up by the commentators. But above all else, I'm very, very happy that we finally got a clean finish to a pay-per-view for the first time since SummerSlam, if you can even say that, since Bryan versus Cena. So that's great to see. They finally delivered on giving us a guaranteed undisputed champion. I was a bit disappointed that nothing happened after the matchup, because from what I understand, this was Mr. McMahon's first televised appearance since August. And he just came out and congratulated Orton, as long as with the rest of the Authority, they didn't do anything at all. So that was really strange. And he wasn't even on Raw either. So we all kind of thought he was coming back to rival the Authority. That appears not to be the case. He didn't even say anything on the show. But even still, very good matchup to close the show. Didn't think it was fantastic, but I did think it was a very good match to close a good show.
Sean?
I was one of the people who didn't like the finish. I actually was expecting a screw job finish. And I don't like Randy Orton as the champion anyways, because his promos are very similar and very boring and shit. I was expecting Chris Jericho or Sheamus or someone to come up and grab the belts, but that wasn't the case, and I've let my fans down. I've let my people down. And
they're let down all the time.
And goddamn Sheamus, you should have made eye contact with Triple H. That's all I can say.
Now, why did you think that Sheamus or Jericho? I mean, Jericho was teasing that he would be there, but why Sheamus in particular?
Because he gets fucked by Triple H. I told you this last week.
Just still that reason, nothing more.
Just that reason. Yeah, he's a Triple H kind of guy. Isn't he?
That's a WrestleMania main event. Jester?
I really liked the match. I 100% thought John Cena was coming out with the title, setting up a streak title situation at Mania with Cena and Undertaker. It's felt like since John Cena went on his main event run, that they were kind of keeping him and the Undertaker away from each other so that they could have that one big match at WrestleMania for Taker's last Mania, setting the stage, WrestleMania 30 being the perfect situation. And like, I just thought, hey, what bigger than the belt and the streak, And they really surprised me by having Randy Orton semi-cleanly beat John Cena. I say semi-cleanly. He won in a heel fashion, but he didn't really cheat. It was within the rules of the match. So really liked the sequence at the end with Orton pulling out the handcuffs, handcuffing Cena to the bottom rope, and then throwing the key into the crowd. Like, my reaction when he did that was, you motherfucking bitch.
I was actually hoping he would swallow the key. like an old Looney Tunes cartoon, just like take the key off the hook and go goom.
That and then like then Cena like unhooking himself and getting to the top, and I'm like, oh, is Cena really still gonna win? Hits Orton with the turnbuckle was really funny, but he can't pull the belt down because his arm is weighed down by the rope, was just really clever. And then with Orton like yanking on the rope and Cena just like hitting his head on the table instead of falling through was almost better, because it was like I believe that would like knock his ass out if like his head just falls off a ladder and just smacks into a table. That could definitely temporarily knock him out long enough for Orton to climb the ladder, whereas just falling through a table, may not be enough. So I thought that actually was a nice touch, even though it was an accident.
That's a much better way to end the match than with Orton swallowing the key and Cena trying to get it.
Orton swallowing the key, it turns into like a fucking Saw game. He's like, he's gonna like, get the key out of his stomach. Or the last few minutes, or spent Orton choking on the key, like and then he just passes out and Cena climbs the ladder.
John Cena's friends with Mick Foley, so he gets him to come down, do the mandible claw to try to reach in there and get it.
This is ridiculous. But yeah, I was really positively surprised Orton won. I thought overall throughout the night the build up to the TLC match was really cool, with like showing like the former champions tweets and stuff. And I usually have a pet peeve of them showing tweets during matches, because like you're supposed to be focusing on the match and they're distracting you with this damn ticker. But like it was cool because it fit with the main event. and having that, and then having the build-ups for Cena and Orton and showing the contrasting. Cena winning the U.S. title, Orton winning the IC title, Cena winning Money in the Bank, Orton winning Money in the Bank, etc. Like, was really cool. Really, really good build-up overall. And then the match was just enjoyable. I definitely do think the TLC match sold the pay-per-view, and I think it delivered. I don't think it was, the generational match it was supposed to be, but I think if you're going to unify the titles, those are the two perfect guys to do it with. They started around the same time. They just make sense. They're the two biggest stars of the last decade. Having them come in as the two champions and having them compete for the unification of the titles was perfect. I don't think the match lived up to the once in a lifetime stipulation that was attached to it. They hyped it a lot, but I thought it was really good. I don't think you can hate it. There's not really much that could have done better, so it was really good. I liked it a lot.
So wait, if we were to follow WWE's typical thing of promoting once in a lifetime, does this mean next year at TLC we're going to see John Cena versus Randy Orton in a TLC match to unify the titles again?
Yeah, but that'll be unifying the IC and the US title.
Oh,
That's the difference. That, or they'll each be half of the tag title champions, and we'll just get one championship that the both of them have to hold up together.
And finally, someone can say, "I am the tag team champions."
Right. So we're going to go around the horn 2 times here. One is coming up a little bit later with the plugs, but right now, overall, what would you give the pay-per-view if you've got a good, a bad, or just kind of something in the middle? We've got something as important as a title unification on this, and we've got something like the Patti LaBelle over the Rainbow Macaroni on this pay-per-view. So where does that all factor in overall? How was the pay-per-view? Good, bad, or what do you think, Peyton?
Patti LaBelle over the Rainbow Macaroni?
You don't remember that? That was the Brawlin' Buddies segment.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Titus O'Neil wanted the recipe for Darren Young's aunt's.
Oh, that was great. That whole thing was great.
The Patti LaBelle over the Rainbow Macaroni. I really want to
there's
try
that
it.
one part is like, I could beat you with my brawling buddy, and in the back you just hear Titus O'Neil all day. Man, if you went to high school or at the high school, you would really appreciate how funny someone saying that is. Anyway, I need Powerade, apparently. Overall, that's what you're asking for me here?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you your overall thoughts of this pay-per-view. My overall thoughts of this pay-per-view, this is quite potentially pay-per-view of the year. The only other one that I would say has any chance of giving it any kind of contendership would be SummerSlam. And that's not necessarily a testament to either of these pay-per-views. I think that's more saying just how shitty 2013 has been for pay-per-views. Quite possibly the worst year for WWF pay-per-views since 1995. So with that being said, I think if I had to give it a stars, I would give it 3.5 to 4 stars, which for this year was like a freaking blessing to have seen a show that good. If you put this in like 2001, it may not have been a very good show. But for 2013, I had a ball watching it.
Graham, what do you think?
I thought it was a good show with the main event, the 2 handicap matches. Everything else was pretty mediocre at best. The only reason why I would say it was good at best, and that's just being generous, is because the last 4 pay-per-views have been so terrible. Night of Champions, Battleground, what was the other one? Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series, all sucked ass. So this pay-per-view is a huge improvement over the rest of them. I wouldn't say it had the potential to be the pay-per-view of the year. I thought SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, Payback, and Extreme Rules were all far better than this pay-per-view. And the only reason why this pay-per-view actually felt entertaining was because the last 4 months in WWE have been atrocious. So I would say it was a good show. Finally, we have a clean result to a pay-per-view. That was great to see. Raw was good, too, so I'm somewhat optimistic about the current direction of WWE going to the WrestleMania season. But if you compare it to past TLC events, I thought it was the worst of the bunch since 2009. But compared to the past few pay-per-views in the last few months, I thought it was pretty good.
Sean, good, okay, bad? What do you think?
I'll put it on par with Extreme Rules. It's not as bad as Battleground, but it's not as good as SummerSlam, so somewhere in the middle. And I'd give it, I don't know, a 2.5 star of 5.
Chester?
I like TLC a lot. It was my favorite pay-per-view of the year since the Royal Rumble. Probably my favorite TLC. I'm never a big fan of TLC, and I actually like this one. Yeah, main event sold it for me. Tag title match is really good too.
Alrighty, guys. So one last thing we have to do is round out everything with some plugs of what you guys have going on. So we go around the horn one more time here. Graham, what do you got to plug?
You guys can check me out on Facebook at Graham Jason Matthews. I have an official page there where you can like that there. I write for Bleacher Report at Graham Jason Matthews. I have my own website at nextwrestling.weebly.com. I do my own radio show off here on college campus. But since I won't be here for the next month, Wrestle Rant Radio Tuesday nights at 9 won't be airing until the end of January. So you can check out clips from the show on YouTube, again, at Graham Jason Matthews. And thanks for having me on. It's been a blast.
No problem, Graham. Thanks for being on. Sean, your turn.
Just my YouTube channel today, which is youtube.com/ShaughnC1989. My Batman Arkham City Let's Play Part 7, which is filled with glitches, is up yesterday. So please check that out. And if you want to send me anti-racial comments, then send them to my Twitter at ShaughnC2K37.
Jester?
I don't have anything I want to plug today, but I'm going to make a Twitter for Chicken Noodle Soup, so you guys should follow that.
You're going to buy that domain name? Bomb.com and chickennoodlesoup.com?
Yeah, absolutely. If Chicken Noodle Soup is gone, I'm going to take the bomb.com as a Twitter handle.
All right, and Peyton?
Please stay tuned to all the cool shit we got going on at Mega Powers Radio, www.megapowersradio.com. Specifically, join us every single Monday night following the conclusion of Monday Night Raw for the NPR Raw post show, where you hear pretty much everyone here and a bunch of other people gathering together. We're talking about everything that happened on the show and also inviting you, yes, you, the listeners, to join the conversation live on the air with us by calling in or going into the chat room. We always have lots of people in there like Awesome Piano Man, Corey Krause, Brian the Brain, lots of other people. I'm sorry if I'm not calling you out by name. I know there's other people. I shouldn't play favorites. So yeah, megapowersradio.com, facebook.com/megapowersradio, youtube.com/megapowersradio. And you can also find a number of the shows archived on smarkoutmoment.com and fanboysanonymous.com.
What was the .com? All right, guys, that does us in for episode 111. Next week will be the 4th annual Smark Out Moment year-end awards, recapping the best and the worst that happened in WWE in 2013. Thanks for listening to the show, everybody, and thank you to everybody on the panel for this evening. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.
Rudy Poo, that is you. We need outros from you now. Rudy Poo, that is you. Shut your mouth and know your role now.